Okay, the recording started. Uh, yes, let's start.
Hi everyone. So today we'll be discussing on the principle, the blind man and the elephant. So I would like Arya to start with the discussion.
Okay. Hello, my name is Arya. Uh, so, are we seeing the bigger picture? We all have gone through the week 10 course modules, and there we have uh, seen the thinking and principles. And habits. So, I have chosen the principle, the blind man, and the elephant. So basically, in this principle, we can see like we have six people in our team, and they have gone for some expenditure, and uh, they go one by one. They all are blind, okay, and they go to see an elephant, and they come from different places. So they touches, somebody touches its tail, somebody touches its trunk, somebody touches its skin, and someone touches his foot, or trunk and ears. So when they come back, they think that this is a wall, or it's a spare, or like it's a rope, or it's a tree, like it's a fan, it's a snake. But that's not the, but from their point of view, they think they're correct, 100% correct. But in actual, when we go to see the actual picture, when we move back, the actual picture is the elephant, the real elephant, the people, the person who, okay, so okay, so the people who go on through the touches the what we say, nose of the elephant, actually he thought that it's a snake, but it was the other thing. We can say it was the nose, and someone touches the trunk, was, it was the, not the real one, okay. So when somebody touches the ears, he thought that it was a fan, but not. So what we perceive from this, so like this principle highlights like how partial understanding leads to misinterpretation. And like in real projects, each team member needs to see the only their parts, and creating fragment views. So in this scenario, they created their own opinions and started imagining their own views. Okay, how this touch my context, working on some project in our team. There are front end developers, back end developers, and some testers. So when they come across some problem and sees any issue, they if they see issue, like if there is a issue with UI, or there is issue with only the API, the backend one sees that it's the issue for the API. The front end seeing that's an issue for the UI. But when we move one step back and see, approach how the uh, logging and then real debugging start from there, if we integrate those two things, okay. So this is how it applies to my context. And so okay, what partial views challenges, what can lead, what problem the partial views can affect, okay. The miscommunication, wrong assumptions, like fixing symptoms. Like I said, the if front end developer sees that problem is with the UI, he keeps fixing the front end, but the actual problem can be of backend, like. So they try to fix the symptom, not the real root cause. So it can lead the conflicts, and like eventually wasting the time of the team. And make frustrated team member frustrated. Okay, so system thinking approach. Go to the next one. Like we can integrated perspectives. We have to integrate all. We have to consult with others and make their opinion and write down their opinions and make the bigger picture. ठीक है. Okay. How the subsystem, okay, how the subsystem act, like if we have some functionality, we can break down into different things and different parts and then see how the subsystem are working, how it is demanding, how it is requesting to the other, like front end or back end. Okay. As I said, we have to clarify and question the other team members to get the bigger picture. Okay. Map the upstream and downstreams. So my new habit, what I am I'm gonna do with this. So I will start to check the data flow, requirements, and dependency before assuming the code is wrong. Also, when the we do debugging, we go with the data flow requirements, dependencies before going to the making the whole change. We can we can debug from the console. Okay. Seeking the multiple, talking to the team members, talking to the front end and developers, from back end developers to see the how, what the real cause. Okay. A map system, the same image, like we have a bird view, like we have we can see the above image of the flow, so can fix the image. So my commitment, see the whole system, not the part, and infer the result from there. I want to become a better problem solver and teammate. At last, my question to all you all, when you face a situation with only partial information, whether you have faced or not, and if you have faced, you can tell and discuss about this, or if you haven't, you can start with your thinking principle and habits. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Arya. For your question, like, yes, if I face problems with only partial information, uh, primarily my focus is on collaborating with other individuals in the team or in the project who might have complete information about the issue that we are solving at hand. And in most of the cases, it actually works. Collaboration usually is the key to solving problems, in my personal experience. So that's something that I have found handy in my academic and career experience. So other than that, I agree with most of your views. So thank you. Anyone else?
If anyone haven't faced the partial information problem in the real life, in the real scenario, they can continue with their thinking principle or habit. No.
Okay, I think we can proceed.
Will you honest?
Okay, who will go
Okay,
next?
can I go next?
Yes, sure.
Can I go next?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so okay. Okay, so today I like to explore a system thinking principle called cause and effect. And that is basically and often separated by time and space. So, in simple terms, the result of our actions don't always, appear immediately, and sometimes they appear in unexpected areas of our life. Yeah. So I've chosen cause and effect of last minute cramming. So I've chosen this because this is something that we all can relate to. Let's say like we have a quiz in a day or two, and we have a lot to cover. The clock is ticking, and the syllabus kind of looks really endless, and we have the pressure to pass or score good marks and to maintain the CGPA. At the moment, the problem is very clear in front of us. That is, I'm not prepared. So that is the problem, right? So we look for the fastest and most convenient solution at that moment. That is cramming at the last minute. So we stay up late, go through the slides, get insights from LLMs, memorize formulas, solve PYQs, and we hope everything we prepared, crammed, stay in our memory just long enough to uh, get good marks or pass in the exam. So in that particular moment, it actually feels like a perfectly logical chain, I'll just study intensively these 2 days, and I'll just go to the exam and pass. This creates a strong illusion of control. We feel like we are directly fixing the problem in front of us, but that is not the case. So that is basically immediate success. So the interesting part is sometimes it works. Sometimes we even score really good marks. Um, we remember enough information to do that. So um, sometimes the sense of we feel a sense of relief. It makes us believe that this strategy was effective. It looks like success. It kind of even feels like success. Like studying just 2 days before the exam and getting pass in good marks, and it convinces us that short-term effort is enough to solve academic challenges. But the system thinking from a week 10 encourages us to pause here and look beyond this beyond this kind of zoom out of this and see the whole picture. So weeks later, new week begins, the concept starts building up on what we have learned earlier. This is when the hidden consequences of the cramming we did just 2 days before the exam finally shows up. Suddenly, the topic that should feel familiar seems the idea should be a part of our foundation for the next upcoming weeks feel unclear. We struggle. We really struggle with all these things. Like we second guess ourselves, and sometimes we even feel like this is like too difficult. The new week is too difficult for us. But in reality, the difficulty is not from the new content, but it is the missing understanding that should have been built earlier. So this is what system thinking means by effect appearing in the later time. So the cause is, and we actually see the effect in later days while we have to prepare for the upcoming weeks, upcoming quizzes or the end term. So when we repeat this pattern, even unconsciously, we train ourselves to rely on shorter memory burst of studying. So over time, this increases stress, reduces the deep understanding of the concepts, and yeah, etc. So a local short-term fix creates a long-term weakness. So this is the separation of space of this particular principle. So one action in one area can quietly or yeah, it kind of quietly or slowly influences many areas in our academic journey. So it teaches not all problems should be solved with immediate solutions. Just because something helps in a moment doesn't matter if it supports long-term success. So that's it. So if you guys have any insights, questions, you can share.
Okay, who is the next? Shan, would you go?
Okay, I'll go. If no one else is willing. Okay, I'll share my screen now. Before that, let me just check if the recording is online. Wait. I have an internet issue. Is my screen visible? Hello?
Yeah, it is visible.
It's visible, right? Okay. Okay. I'm Sayan Ganguly, and for today's topic, I'm actually focusing on system thinking's principle of reinforcing feedback. Uh, Before we delve deeper into this topic, I would like to talk about the card that we were provided of reinforcement feedback. So, in that, I have added some context from my academic life of virtuous cycle. Later, we'll be talking about the vicious cycle as well. So, basically, the concept of reinforcing feedback. If A causes B, it is also possible that B causes A. It is something that can be separated into two cycles, one of them being the virtuous cycle and the other one being the vicious cycle. Uh, I'll be talking about both of these cycles and then I'll be sharing my personal insights on this as well. Uh, okay, just a second. Just a second. I think my recording is a bit errorsome. It's not. Is anyone else recording as well? Because I think. If I'm sharing my screen, my video is not actually, my
Yes,
screen is
I'm,
not visible.
I'm recording.
Oh, okay.
I'm recording.
Okay, fine. Then, what happened? Sorry about that. Okay, so, okay, so this was the initial part of our virtuous cycle. Now, for example, during our own degree here at IITM BS, what we require the most during live sessions, for instance, we have frequent number of live sessions in most of our courses. The more number of live sessions we attend, the more we try to solve along with the instructors, the more we realize where our mistakes lie, where our conceptual flaws actually lie. So on the basis of that, we are able to actually score higher, which is basically the effect in this case. As you can see in the illustration, the cause and effect principle, and I believe our teammate also suggested similar thing for the cause and effect principle as well. And now, what my thinking principle adds to it is the principle of reinforcing this feedback. Whenever you attend live classes regularly, you actually learn from instructors, learn from people who are more learned than you, who are out there to actually do good to you, you get positive feedback. The feedback in itself might be somewhat affirmative, it might be pessimistic, but you get feedback that you can utilize for your own benefits. Once you get those feedbacks, you implement them in your study protocol and you are better prepared than ever before. What happens as an outcome? As an outcome, you create a feedback loop wherein you continuously try to solve with your instructors, you keep your instructors in loop, you talk to them, and eventually you are able to explain your understanding, or you're able to actually leverage your understanding through your exam scores as well, and you end up with the best and the most the best of the best of your potential, basically. So this is what I refer to as the virtuous cycle of reinforcing feedback. This is one of the cases where uh, feedback can be reinforced in the most positive way. Now let's talk about what the vicious cycle could be. Okay, so when I talk about the vicious cycle, let's just assume that you are a student who hasn't exactly been studying or the whole academic life or the whole semester, and all of a sudden uh, you are able to come across some cheat sheets or some crash course videos which cover only relevant topics from the previous year questions, and somehow you mug up those questions, you are able to answer a few questions here and there, and you are able to pass with better grades than you expected. This is an example of your mind not performing the way it was supposed to. Yet, the feedback that you get, the fact that you passed, being something positive. So, this drives you into a vicious cycle. So, what happens in this vicious cycle? You're unable to actually comprehend that what you have done and and the effect that has happened to you is not exactly in favor of your long-term gains. What happens is we keep postponing, we keep procrastinating, we keep making mistakes over and over again. And every single time, if we are saved by something like a cheat sheet or something, uh, or some other trick just to pass our academics, or the same thing works for our career aspirations as well during internships and all. A lot of students oftentimes have been guilty of just fabricating results to show to their superiors instead of actually working on those projects. Eventually, and this ends up being a reason why they do not get replacement offers at a lot of firms. So this is one. So this is what happens when you're in a vicious cycle. You're in a cycle where you're constantly being fed in the wrong feedback, and you keep reinforcing that, resulting in no net positive growth. And eventually, you are dug deep into a pit where you are unable to escape. My final conclusion would be about breaking this particular cycle from struggle to momentum. Now, the text here basically talks about how several students actually struggle with avoidance and with all the problems that come along with the academic life, including procrastination. The solution is obviously quite simple to understand, but a bit difficult to implement. It is to engineer your own positive feedback loop. Make sure you make small, achievable wins. Once you make a win, once you accomplish a task for yourself, give yourself a small win, give yourself a small accomplishment, maybe a snack, maybe something that's maybe a show that you like. You could watch an episode for that. That reinforces a positive feedback every single time you do something good. Once that is done, your brain automatically fine tunes itself to a new form of feedback, a new form of dopamine that is relevant, that is reliant more on actual positive work rather than instant gratification. So this is something that I believe would be the solution, and this is something that I have integrated into my life as of late, as I have been guilty of procrastinating a lot, being driven by negative feedbacks a lot. So, in order to overcome that challenge, I have tried to implement these things in my life personally, and I believe that it has helped me a lot in my academic and career aspirations as well. So, if anyone wants to contribute anything to this, then We can go ahead, or we can go ahead with the next principle as well. This was it from my side.
Mm. Thank you so much, Sayan. Sarwar Kareem Akhand, would you like to?
Yes, let me share. Hello everyone. This is Sarwar Kori Makhan. Today I'm sharing how the principle, the blind man and the elephant, applies to my learning experience at IIT Madras PS program. The principles explain that when something is complex, each of us understands only a small piece of it and often mistakes the small piece for the whole truth. I have experienced this many times in this coursework, whether it's machine learning or any programming or any courses. If one concept feels like confusing or harder, I often immediately feels like the subject is difficult or it's not possible for me to understand this subject or something, some special concept about this. But actually, I am only interacting with one small part of the bigger system. I realized that the problem is not the subject, it's the limited angle from which I have been viewing it. So, just like the blind man touching different part of the elephant, I was forming opinion based on the incomplete understanding, just like this. So, when I actively started exploring topics from multiple directions, when I actively started exploring topic from multiple direction, lectures, videos, examples, uh, discussions with peers, and real world applications, the pictures become more clear. A topic that felt impossible earlier suddenly made sense simple because I now saw more of the whole. Pictures also taught me not to compare my understanding with others too quickly. Someone who understands a topic faster may just be holding a different part of the elephant. It reminds me the learning is a process of expanding perspectives, not racing through chapter. For conclusion, this principle helped me develop patience and curiosity. It taught me to step back, gather more viewpoints, and avoid assumption-based assumption-based limited information. Seeing the bigger pictures has made my learning smoother, my confidence get better, and my frustration much lower. And this for my side.
Thank you. So maybe I can go next. Prakash,
Sarwar,
can you please
stop
present the
presenting.
PPT for me?
Yes,
Can you please present Vishak's PPT that he sent to group?
are you asking me?
Vishak's PPT, can you present it? He has sent to the group.
Oh, right. Are you asking to present me?
Okay, stop presenting. I'll do.
Okay. Okay.
Sarvar, you can stop presenting. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Uh, Thanks, Arya. So today I'm going to speak on the principle reacting to symptoms, right? So we all have faced this issue, right? That we only take action when the problem is very obvious, right? We actually do not care about taking any preventive action, right? To take corrective steps so that the issue never occurs. Instead, what we do is when the problem is very, very obvious and it is seen, only then we try to go ahead and solve or mitigate that problem. So this is a principle I'm going to speak on. So as you can see, the core principle is prevention versus cure, right? So most of us focus on curing the disease, but the real focus should actually be on preventing it, right? Be it our health or be it anything, right? Be it infrastructure in India, the government infrastructure, or be it any aspect. What we see is we have a mentality to cure things instead of preventing it. So now I would like to take some anecdotes. So firstly, let us study about Nokia's case study, how the mobile giant actually ignored early warning signs that eventually led to the collapse of such a big company, right? So in 2002 2005, Nokia actually started with its most iconic phones, right? And later, iPhone, Samsung came up with Android phones and iPhones, right? But Nokia was very confident about its product. They didn't innovate. They failed to recognize the early warnings, and they eventually launched phones with the Windows OS, which actually didn't work in the market, competing with Mac and Android. So this actually led them to switch their strategy, and now they are working like, and later they made a cure, right, to come back into the market. So this is something which illustrates this principle. So we should actually focus on prevention rather than cure, so that we can actually save a lot on time, energy, and resource, right? So now I would like to talk about my personal experience when I'm a software engineer at HPE, and so I would like to share a personal anecdote that highlights my experience with this principle. So we were asked to develop a system, and I was actually ignoring early warnings for the application performance, right? And when we tried to scale the application to millions of users, at that point of time, the application actually crashed, right? So at that point of time, it was really capital intensive and time intensive for us to solve that problem. So then I realized that prevention, like recognizing the early performance warnings and fixing them would have been a much better approach than fixing it later. Because we anyways need to fix it, be it early or later. If we do it early, we save a lot of resources, time, energy, and even we do not cause difficulty to our clients, right? But since we fix it later, it caused a lot of hassle, and we also almost ended up losing the client. But so it was a grave situation. Right? So how can we fix this uh, behavior, right? Wherein we are focusing more on fixing errors rather than preventing them. So firstly, we need to build a mindset wherein we are acknowledging small initial warnings that pop up to us. We should not delay uh, on whatever like warnings we are getting, right? That is the first thing. Acknowledging the initial warnings that we get about any system. The second thing is we need to have the psychological safety, right? All the team members should have the psychological safety to pinpoint any issues earlier so that we can prevent on like any critical defects later, right? The third important thing is pre-mortems, right? So before launching initiatives, we should gather teams to imagine failures and identify work points. So this prevents problems rather than just preparing responses, right? And the fourth thing is implementing leading indicators. So we need to implement indicators so that we can track various metrics and not just outcome metrics, right? Maybe can be employee engagement scores or scores that predict turnover, right? Code complexity, predict bugs in case of software engineering or any of that sort, right? And the last and the most important thing is we need to build a, a ritual of questioning the status quo, right? So we need to dedicate time in retrospection, right? Like if we do this thing, will that cause a damage later, right? So if we fix these things on the go, so we can actually build a mindset, build an ecosystem wherein we focus more on prevention rather than cure. So thank you so much. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay. So thank you, everyone. I believe now we are at the end of our discussion for today. You are muted, Arya.
Okay. Vishak, can you mark the presents and absents in the G sheet?